Hello and welcome to episode 3. These are flying by. This is brought to you by my father's baseball mug, which I think he probably got in an estate or a garage sale back in the 80s, and then gave it to me when I was very young. And so I primarily use this for pens and pencils and all that stuff. So I scrubbed the inside of this out, but it's probably got a little lead in it still, so never actually drank out of this. Turns out not that easy to drink out of either. Like my nose hits it. Anyway, let me put that right here. I have a lot of notes today, so I apologize if I look down a little bit. But I wanted to talk about something serious that I'm very passionate about, and that's culling. And I know you're getting so excited about talking about culling, but if you're a photographer, an experienced one or not, you'll find that culling is either like the bane of your existence or something you really look forward to. And I'm kind of on the fence about this. That being said, before we get into the culling, I want to remark about how amazing I look in this fantastic screen print by my buddy Bryan over at Camera Monster. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook and all those places. I'll put a link in the YouTube and tag him. But I love this shirt because I actually have the same Rolleiflex. And then on top of it, I'm looking particularly stylish with this plaid 70s getup that I found for like no money over at like TJ Maxx or JCPenney or one of those places. Anyway, I look fantastic, and then just a quick shout out to my guy Bryan before we go into the art of culling. So with culling, like not every photograph is going to be gold. It's going to make your wall or your, the client's deck in order to, sell whatever you're trying to sell, whether it's portraits, fashion, product, or whatever. Some photos will get deleted. And if photos aren't being deleted, or if you're keeping everything, you really kind of should reevaluate your life choices because that's way too many photos. Some people use like numbering systems or color systems, or they'll they'll take all the photos that look good and put them into different folders. Me personally, like I like to look over everything, just kind of give it a nice glance over in my library. Now I use Capture One, but I grew up using Camera Raw in Bridge before Lightroom came out. That's how old I am. And then Lightroom came out, which is a combination of Bridge and Photoshop. They kind of merged the two specifically for photographers. And then Capture One came out, 20 years ago, 15 years ago, and basically one up everybody. That being said, I know a lot of you are using Lightroom and Capture, so we'll keep it right there for right now. But basically, I like to go through my whole catalog in Capture One and kind of find the photos that I immediately have a visceral reaction with. So something I'm excited about. And I put like a little green tab, and you can do that with stars. You can do it however you choose. But there's something that's just like, ooh, I like that. Ooh, I don't like that. The stuff that I don't like, I might delete immediately because it's like, an eye closed or, somebody making a weird face that I don't like or want. But usually before I get into like this one or this one, like it's never like, I don't like, some people go into the eye exam where it's just like, is it 1 or is it 2? Is it 1 or is it 2? And that that's death for me. Like, cause I don't have that kind of time, and I don't always have an editor on site. I have a couple of photo editors, one being in Guadalajara. Hi, Stephanie. And she'll choose for me, or if I'm on set and there's an editor there, they'll choose for the client. But a lot of times it's just me and my catalog and being in a dark room here in the studio. That being said, I like to go through and just find the images that light me up, because there's a good chance if the photos light me up, they're going to light the client up if they haven't already made that choice on set. If I don't like it, I have to ask myself, is there something I need to fix with something that's something that might be really close? So you have your photos that you like immediately, and then you have your secondary shots that you think through and you're like, do I like this? Do I not like this? Is this 90% there? How close is it? Is it an exposure thing? Is it a soft focus? or have I pulled focus too far back or in front of the subject? Where am I where is this not working for me, and can I fix it? Those two things right there are immediate time savers, because everything else then you become progressively more nitty gritty. That being said, the internet is forever, and I'm just going to kind of leave it at that. But let's take a look at it from a content uploading perspective. Like the last 15 years of me posting really heavily on the internet, like I have photographs that are out there that my clients use and love that don't really hit the KARJAKA standard of excellence or iconicism that I'm going for in today's world, because my taste has gotten better, or like I understand like lighting or the camera better, or X, Y, and Z better post-processing. That being said, it's like you'll notice that like you'll put like I don't want you putting out photos that don't fulfill you right now. Like you're going to put up photos, like you're going to look back in a couple of years at photos you posted online and not be entirely happy with that. And that's completely normal. But to think about posting, like letting that hinder you from posting now, I think would be a huge detriment. That's why, like for me, when I cull with the idea that like I'm not going to delete the photos that don't make the first or second rounds that I'm really happy about, because you never know when you come back in your catalog, whether it's Lightroom again or Capture One, like you might come back to photos that didn't make your hero shots, but you might like this detail shot, like this hand or this ring, or like I like this cap of this bottle. Or if you're doing some sort of graphic design work or publishing work, sometimes you don't need the hero. In fact, like those detail shots, if you can crop in and still have enough information, work better. And they're usually in your third or fourth culls, or just in a pile of images that just didn't make the cut. Like before the great whittle down. So I told you I've got notes. I write all this stuff out. Before you do, like, again, the big takeaway is before you get to the great whittle down, like listen to your gut. Remove what you don't like. Like once you've found the images that you really do like, make sure you get rid of all the things that you know immediately. I'm never going to use this. It's never going to hit. But don't delete the photos unless you truly like, hard drives and computers nowadays have so much space. Granted, like the file sizes are getting larger, so you kind of have to mitigate that. So I understand if you need to delete like the photos with like weird, odd faces and whatnot. But at the end of the day, make sure that like, unless you're 100% sure you'll never use it, like keep it. You never know. And in today's world, we're making new reels, we're making new things for Instagram and Facebook, and like I said, other publications that you might use that little detail shot. You never know. Like I still go through my catalogs, even my film work from the last 20 years, where I'm like, oh, I still like this shot, or this has possibility here. And then I can talk about starring things. Me personally, if I know I'm going to definitely use things, use an image, I'm going to give it 5 stars. If it has a possibility, I might use 4. 3 stars is usually behind the scenes photos. I kind of like it where I mark everything that I know or that I have a hunch about. I'm going to mark it to be a 5, and then I'm going to remove a star if it doesn't make that final cut. So I move it down to a 4 or a 2 or a 1. My 3s for me personally are always my behind the scenes. But that's the kind of magic that I work with. But at the end of the day, like get used to the process. Learn to enjoy the process. I know a lot of photographers like, oh, but honestly, for me, you could watch a ton of YouTube videos. You can go to all these portfolio reviews, and you can meet with mentors, and you can have all your friends take a look at your images. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to how you learn from your own work, because that's really the best teacher. And granted, I've taken private lessons, like as a musician, as a photographer, and everything in between, where I get bits of knowledge or ideas about where I should go. But really, if you're really studying the work that you do, in addition to studying the great photographers and the not so great photographers, you'll find that you'll learn more from your own images because you'll become like a little bit more focused as opposed to just farming out the culling process as a whole. So learn to love that process, the good, the bad, and the ugly. And trust me, I've gone through so much ugly and so very little good, but I have very high standards and I think it shows, and that's part of my process. But learn to enjoy the process, because that's kind of where the magic is, part of where the fun of all of it is. Let's put it this way. I don't want to be doing anything that I'm not enjoying, down to the retouching, down to the culling, the lighting, the fashion styling, to these rambling podcasts. Anyway, this is episode 3 of season 2. I'm Alex KARJAKA of KARJAKA Studios. It's a pleasure as always. And don't forget to subscribe and check out our new handy dandy website that's up and running. We put a lot of love and time into it. And it's nothing without you. So take a look at it. Let us know what you think. Let us know what more you'd like to hear about in these podcasts or see in our photos. And we'll see you on the next one. Cheers.